Welcome. Tonight, we travel far beyond our world, into the quiet, endless dark, where stars are born, shine, and fade. You don't have to understand everything. Just listen, breathe slowly, and let the universe tell you a bedtime story. Chapter 1. The Last Light of a Star. You begin at the twilight of a star's life, where light softens and time slows. A gentle warmth pulses through the cosmos, the echo of creation nearing its rest. Here, you'll feel the calm before collapse, the stillness that only ancient light can hold. Every flicker in the sky becomes a quiet heartbeat of the universe itself. The night sky above you is ancient, older than the bones beneath your skin. When you lift your gaze toward it, you are not simply looking at distance, you are looking at time. Every point of light is a story still traveling, a memory crossing the dark to find your eyes. And among them, somewhere out there, a star is fading. Its glow reaches you even now, though the star itself may already be gone. You see what it once was, not what it is. That is the first secret of the cosmos. Light takes time, and everything you see is a glimpse of the past. The sky is a vast archive of beginnings and endings, whispering all at once. Tonight, we rest in the company of one such ending, the last light of a dying star. Its name doesn't matter. Stars do not need names to be eternal. It has burned for billions of years, longer than any world could remember. But now, its fuel is thinning. Deep inside, the balance between pressure and gravity begins to shift. The fire that once pushed outward starts to weaken, and the weight of the star itself begins to press inward. The great cycle nears its close. You can imagine it, a sphere of glowing gas, once fierce and blue, now softening into a gentler hue. The edges blur, as if the star exhales light more slowly than before. Its brilliance remains, but its rhythm changes, no longer the quick pulse of youth, but the long breath of age. Even in its decline, it shines. The universe has a way of making even endings beautiful. You feel the warmth of its glow against your skin, though it lies light years away. That warmth began in fusion, a process so powerful it turned the simplest atoms into radiance. Hydrogen merged with hydrogen, becoming helium, releasing energy in quiet bursts of creation. That was how the star lived, giving more than it kept, until one day the giving became too much to bear. It is not pain that ends a star. It is generosity exhausted. The space around it darkens slowly. Dust begins to gather in its orbit, drawn by the faint tug of gravity. From afar, you could mistake it for stillness, but up close, there is motion everywhere. Atoms colliding, light scattering, magnetic fields dancing like unseen threads. Even in its decline, the star remains alive in the language of physics, a delicate balance of energy and surrender. You watch its light ripple across the cosmos. For a moment, it is easy to forget how small you are, until you realize that even your body carries the memory of stars. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen that fills your lungs, all of it born in furnaces like this one. You are not a visitor to the stars. You are one of their descendants. As the star fades, it enters its quietest chapter. Its outer layers cool, glowing a soft orange, then red. Each hue tells a story of temperature and time. Blue means heat, energy, and youth. Red means rest, the slowing of nuclear fire. It is as though the star itself has learned to sleep. Its core remains fierce, but the surface drifts toward calm. You feel its peace more than you see its power. There is a lesson in this, whispered across space. Even the brightest things are allowed to rest. Even light must learn when to dim. Imagine floating near it, safe within the vast emptiness. The light does not blind you now, it soothes you. You can see granules of plasma swirling across its surface, each one larger than continents, yet moving with the gentleness of clouds. The star hums in frequencies too deep for human hearing, a vibration that runs through the bones of the universe. If you could translate that sound, it would feel like a heartbeat slowing, a rhythm preparing for silence. Inside, however, the story continues. The core still fuses helium, the byproduct of its youth, forming carbon and oxygen, the seeds of life yet to come. It is creating the elements that one day may form worlds, oceans, and breath. Even in its last moments, the star gives. It does not end in vanity, but in contribution. This is how the universe recycles itself, through endings disguised as gifts. The outer layers shiver, preparing to drift away. They will form a nebula, a glowing mist of color and gas, the last exhalation of a star's life. It will hang in space like a memory, spreading its atoms across the void for future suns to gather. You could call it a death, but it is also a birth. In the universe, the two are the same gesture seen from different sides. As you drift deeper into thought, time stretches. The distances between stars expand like breath. You feel the universe inhaling and exhaling, and your own breathing finds its rhythm within that vastness. The cosmos becomes not something you look at, but something you belong to. Each pulse of your heart mirrors the fading rhythm of that star, a reminder that energy never disappears. It only changes form. The light continues its long journey. Even after the star itself collapses, the light it gave off travels on. It will move through space for thousands of years, passing by new worlds, brushing over clouds of dust, until one night, maybe this night, it reaches an eye willing to see it. Perhaps your own. You, lying beneath a sky that holds so many ghosts of brightness in that moment. The boundary between your life and the cosmos dissolves. You realize that looking up is not looking away, it is looking inward. The same physics that governs the stars governs the atoms within you. Your heartbeat is a small echo of stellar fusion, your warmth a continuation of cosmic fire. Even in your most fragile moments, you are carrying forward the story of light. And so, as the star fades from its own sky, its legacy begins to bloom elsewhere. The light it gave still illuminates other worlds, other eyes, other nights. This is the quiet eternity of the cosmos. Nothing ever truly leaves. Energy moves. Matter transforms. Stories continue in different voices. You rest in that thought. You are both observer and participant, a spark of awareness floating through the same sea of particles and gravity. The star's death becomes a lullaby, its last photons brushing softly against your thoughts, reminding you that beauty and impermanence are not opposites, they are partners. The stillness you feel is not emptiness. It is continuation in disguise. Somewhere deep within that fading star, hydrogen, the most ordinary atom, continues its quiet work, fusing, creating, releasing warmth. Its story is small, almost invisible, yet it holds the secret of everything that lives and glows. From that atom's embrace, light is born. And from that light, all worlds eventually awaken. You close your eyes. The last light of the star flickers across the dark, a whisper of warmth moving toward you across impossible distance. You breathe it in without knowing, and for a moment, the universe feels both infinite and intimate, a vastness that somehow fits inside your quiet mind. The star fades completely now, its light still traveling, its heart still echoing in the memory of space. You wonder what becomes of that heart, of that endless fusion, of hydrogen's patient fire still working in the dark. And that gentle question becomes the first step into the secret life of hydrogen. Chapter 2. The secret life of hydrogen. You descend into the glowing heart of a star, where hydrogen, the simplest atom, lives its most powerful life. Fusion whispers here, where atoms embrace to become something new. You'll follow the story of how heat and pressure create light, and how this dance sustains the heavens. Even in its simplicity, hydrogen teaches the art of transformation. You drift closer now, past the outer calm of a fading star, and enter its living heart, a realm of pressure, heat, and endless creation. This is not the silence of space. Here, everything moves, everything burns, everything becomes. The light that touched your face moments ago was born here, in the invisible union of the smallest things, hydrogen atoms. They are the most common substance in the universe, so common, in fact, that you breathe traces of them every day. But within stars, these simple atoms live extraordinary lives. They collide, merge, and in that moment of joining, release energy so pure that it illuminates the cosmos. Hydrogen is the universe's first story. After the Big Bang, when chaos settled into order, when matter cooled just enough to exist, hydrogen was the first word spoken in the language of creation. Each atom carries a single proton, a single electron, small but capable of unimaginable change. It is from this simplicity that stars are born, and from stars, everything else. You move deeper, feeling the temperature rise. The air would not feel like air here. It would be plasma, an ocean of charged particles, so dense it behaves like a fluid. Hydrogen atoms rush and collide at incredible speeds, pressed together by the weight of the star's own gravity. And when they meet under such immense pressure, something extraordinary happens. Fusion, in that instant. Two hydrogen nuclei become one, forming helium, releasing energy, and bathing the star in light. It is a process so constant, so patient, that the same reaction has been happening for billions of years without pause. Every second, the sun, your nearest star, fuses around 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium. That might sound like loss, but it is transformation. Hydrogen gives itself freely, and from its surrender, light is born. It's strange to think that such violence, atoms crashing together at unimaginable speed, creates something so serene as sunlight. Yet that is the paradox of the universe. From chaos comes calm, from pressure comes brilliance, from the smallest spark comes warmth that crosses infinity. You imagine one atom of hydrogen now. It drifts through the core, pulled inward by gravity, spinning, vibrating, waiting to meet another. In the darkness of plasma, it finds its twin. For a brief, immeasurable moment, they touch and become one. A new element is born. That instant of union sends energy racing outward, traveling layer by layer until it escapes as light. By the time it reaches the surface of the star, it has taken tens of thousands of years to emerge. And when that same light finally travels across space to touch your face, it carries the memory of that first embrace. Hydrogen, in its quiet persistence, teaches you about transformation. It does not resist pressure, it responds to it. It allows itself to be changed by its environment, and through that change, it becomes something brighter. Perhaps that is what life does, too. Accepts the weight of experience and turns it, slowly, into light. The deeper you go, the more you feel the density, the heat pressing in from all sides. The atoms vibrating with invisible urgency. You cannot see individual particles, only motion, a shimmering golden haze of creation. It is not chaos, not really. Every movement has a pattern, a purpose. Gravity holds the rhythm, fusion provides the melody, and hydrogen dances to both. Stars are sustained by this delicate balance, inward pull and outward push. Gravity wants to collapse the star, but fusion's energy pushes back with equal grace. For as long as hydrogen burns, the star lives. This balance, this quiet harmony, is what keeps the universe from falling in on itself. There is poetry hidden in that physics. You live by similar rules. When pressure builds in your life, when forces seem to pull you inward, it is the energy you create in response. The warmth of effort, of growth, of love, that holds you in balance. Hydrogen may be simple, but it carries the blueprint of resilience. As time passes, hydrogen begins to fade. It fuses into helium faster than it can replenish itself. This is the slow aging of a star, a process not of dying, but of maturing. The more helium that forms, the more the core changes. Helium is heavier, denser, and gravity grows stronger. The balance begins to shift again. You can almost feel it, the gentle tension between persistence and exhaustion. Even in stars, endurance has its limit. Yet hydrogen never truly disappears. It drifts outward, mingling with space, joining clouds of gas that will one day form new stars. Its essence recycles endlessly, moving from one generation of suns to the next. Perhaps the light that warms your world today was once hydrogen in a long-vanished star, a continuation of something that never ends. You drift upward again, out of the core, carrying with you the quiet knowledge of hydrogen's truth. Everything that burns must give something up. Everything that shines must yield to change. But there is no tragedy in that. It is simply the rhythm of creation, the warmth on your skin, the light in your eyes, the heartbeat of your world. All of it traces back to these atomic unions, these small acts of transformation in the dark. Hydrogen does not ask to be seen. It simply continues, patient, purposeful, a reminder that greatness often hides within the smallest forms. When you look again at the sky, you may see hydrogen differently, not as invisible gas, but as the handwriting of the universe, a language that every star speaks, and that your own body quietly understands, because you, too, are built from these beginnings. You, too, are the result of atoms that once fused, released light, and drifted into new forms. The story of hydrogen is the story of continuity, a whisper from the beginning of time, still shaping what you see and what you are. And though the star continues its patient burning, you can sense what lies ahead. The balance will shift. The pressure will grow. Gravity, ever gentle but unyielding, will begin to call the star back inward, a force not of punishment, but of guidance. You feel that pull even now, a reminder that every creation carries the memory of its source. Hydrogen burns, light escapes, but gravity remains, steady and faithful, ready to gather what the fire will one day release. And so, as the core glows and the outer layers ripple like liquid sunlight, you sense the quiet beginning of the next truth, that every star's heartbeat is held in gravity's gentle grip. Chapter 3. The Silent Collapse, when gravity takes the lead in this chapter. You drift deeper into the silent heart of a dying star, where gravity begins its final act. You'll explore how balance breaks, how atoms surrender, and how light begins to fade into the embrace of collapse. This is the moment when everything turns inward, when time slows, and the universe holds its breath. There's a stillness that comes before the end. For millions, sometimes billions of years, a star has lived in perfect balance, its outward light pushing gently against the inward pull of gravity. But even stars have limits, and when their fuel runs out, that balance collapses. You imagine this moment not as an explosion, but as a sigh, a long exhale of something that has given all it can. Deep inside the star, where pressure once turned hydrogen into helium, and helium into heavier elements, the reactions begin to falter. The furnace that kept gravity at bay grows quiet, and when that happens, gravity takes over. It's not loud. Not yet. Gravity doesn't roar or rush. It presses. It draws every atom, every ounce of light and heat inward toward the core. The outer layers begin to fall. The heart of the star tightens, compresses, and suddenly, unimaginably, becomes heavier, denser, hotter than ever before. Imagine holding a mountain in your hand. That's what happens at the atomic level. In just seconds, the star's core can shrink from the size of a sun to something no larger than a city. The density becomes so extreme that a teaspoon of this stellar matter could weigh more than all the cars on Earth combined. It's a kind of beauty, fierce, unstoppable, absolute. You can almost hear the soundless collapse. Feel the invisible compression that turns space into pressure, light into darkness. And somewhere in that collapse, new forces awaken. Protons and electrons merge into neutrons. Matter itself reshapes, becoming something new, a neutron star, perhaps. But sometimes gravity doesn't stop there. Sometimes it wants everything. If the dying star is massive enough, its gravity continues to pull, unstoppable, beyond all resistance. Space folds in. Time bends. The star implodes past the point where physics, as we know it, can describe what happens. This is the birth of a black hole. But in this chapter, you linger right at the edge of that moment, the instant before the horizon forms. You imagine being one of the atoms inside the collapsing core, being pulled closer and closer to the center, moving faster and faster, until motion itself loses meaning. Everything falls inward. Everything becomes still. Even time slows here, because gravity is not only a force, it is the shape of time itself. If you could watch this from afar, you'd see the star's outer layers flaring one last time, scattering their light across the galaxy in a spectacular final gesture, a supernova. But the true story is happening in silence, at the center, where gravity finishes its patient work. The collapse is not destruction, it's transformation. Every ending in the cosmos carries within it the seed of something new, and as the star folds into itself, you feel the paradox that this quiet collapse, this final surrender, is not just death. It is the universe reshaping itself, making room for something yet unnamed. You breathe in deeply and imagine the pull of that gravity, the way everything is drawn homeward, the way even the smallest fragments find their center again. As you drift deeper into thought, one quiet question lingers in your mind. If gravity can pull stars into silence, what then? Is the gravity within you the quiet force that draws everything back to its center? The chapter fades here softly, like light dimming into the distance, as you begin to follow that question inward. Chapter 4. The event horizon, where light pauses and time folds in this chapter. You drift to the boundary of a black hole, the edge where space and time lose their familiar shape. You'll explore the event horizon, that silent frontier where even light cannot return. It's not destruction that happens here, but transformation, where physics becomes poetry, and the universe whispers its most mysterious truths. You are floating in darkness. Not the kind of darkness you find in a room with no light, but a vast cosmic stillness that feels alive, heavy, patient. Ahead of you lies a sphere that bends everything around it, a place where light no longer behaves as light should. This is the event horizon, the point of no return. You've arrived at the edge of the unseeable. Imagine light as a traveler. Every beam you've ever known, from the sunrise, from the stars, from the reflection in someone's eyes, has always been free. It moves through space effortlessly, faster than anything else can move. But here, near a black hole, the freedom begins to fade. You watch as light bends, spirals, and stretches. It slows as it climbs against gravity's pull, until finally it cannot climb anymore. It pauses, suspended in time, as if the universe itself is holding its breath. This is the horizon. Nothing can cross it and return, not matter, not information, not even the smallest flicker of energy. And yet, from your vantage point, just outside, it is beautiful. The light that cannot escape swirls and dances in delicate patterns, creating a luminous ring. The photon sphere, it glows faintly, like a halo around the unknowable. You realize something profound here. The black hole itself is invisible, but the space around it shines to your eyes. The fabric of the cosmos bends inward like a whirlpool. Every particle, every ray, every thought seems drawn toward the center. Space is no longer flat. It's curved, folded, draped around the invisible mass. Time, too, begins to behave strangely. If you dropped a clock toward the black hole, you would see it slow, tick by tick, until it seemed to freeze entirely at the edge. But to the clock itself, time would feel normal. It would cross the horizon in an instant, never noticing the threshold it has passed. Two realities at once, both true, both impossible to reconcile. This is what Einstein's theory of relativity revealed, that gravity is not simply a force, but the bending of space and time, and near a black hole. That bending becomes so extreme that the rules themselves begin to unravel. You think of the horizon not as a wall, but as a mirror. It reflects the limits of understanding, the edge between knowing and mystery, the line that separates here from beyond. And yet, something in you feels drawn closer, not out of danger, but curiosity. A quiet longing to see what lies inside. But there's no inside as you would know it. There's only a continuation of time folding into space, of paths curving endlessly inward. From outside, anything that crosses the event horizon appears frozen forever in place, its image stretched across time. But from within, the fall continues. Smooth, unstoppable, silent. The horizon becomes a symbol, not of death, but of surrender. The moment when even light gives up its struggle and lets gravity carry it home. You imagine standing right at the threshold. You reach out your hand and feel it tremble between existence and disappearance. Every law of physics whispers a different story. Quantum theory says information cannot vanish. Relativity says nothing can escape. Somewhere between those truths lies one of the greatest puzzles in all of science. The information paradox. Does what falls into a black hole truly disappear forever? Or does the universe, in its infinite patience, keep a record of everything it has ever created? The answer is still unknown, and perhaps that's part of the beauty. You take a breath. The silence here is unlike any other. Even the faint hum of cosmic background radiation seems to fade away. It feels like standing on the edge of eternity where sound, light, and meaning dissolve into pure being. The event horizon isn't only a boundary in space, it's a metaphor in life. Too, there are horizons, moments beyond which you cannot return unchanged. The loss of someone you love, the passing of time, the instant you realize that nothing stays the same forever. Yet every horizon also marks the beginning of something unseen. You linger here for a moment longer, watching the slow swirl of light around the edge of the abyss. It's mesmerizing, like watching the final flicker of a candle before sleep. The light bends, stretches, then fades, and as it does, you feel yourself drifting, not falling, but dissolving into stillness. Somewhere beyond this calm darkness, beyond the horizon's curve, lies the singularity, the place where all paths end, and perhaps begin again. You close your eyes, the horizon fades, the universe breathes. In the next chapter, you will follow that breath inward into the heart of the singularity itself, where all distances vanish, and the story of everything collapses into one infinite point. Chapter 5. The Singularity. The point where everything becomes one in this chapter. You journey beyond the horizon into the singularity, the mysterious center of a black hole. Here, all known laws of physics dissolve. Space and time collapse into a single, infinite point where everything that ever was becomes one. It's not chaos, but an extraordinary kind of unity, a place where the universe begins again in silence. You drift inward. There is no sense of falling now, only a slow surrender, a calm descent into something that feels both endless and close. The event horizon fades behind you, and the light that once guided your path is gone inside. There is no up or down, no before or after. You are surrounded by the smooth, invisible pull of gravity, so strong that even time itself has forgotten how to move. This is the singularity, the heart of the black hole, the place where every boundary dissolves. For all our equations and instruments, no one has truly seen it. It cannot be measured or photographed. It exists where understanding ends, a place where reality folds in on itself so tightly that all distances, all differences, all forms collapse into one infinite point. Imagine compressing the entire earth into the size of a grain of sand, then pressing further, until that sand itself has no width, no volume, no space between its atoms. That's a glimpse of what gravity does here. It squeezes not just matter, but the very fabric of existence. And yet, you don't feel crushed. You feel ... quiet. It's as if every particle, every atom that once made up the dying star, all its history, its heat, its light, has returned to a single note of cosmic music. The note is so deep, so still, that it vibrates through the entire universe. You begin to sense what scientists mean when they say our current physics cannot describe this place. Einstein's equations curve endlessly inward. Quantum mechanics, which governs the very small, clashes with relativity, which governs the very large. Both reach their limits here, like two languages trying to describe a dream that has no words. And so, The singularity is not an end in the human sense. It is a silence too vast for description, a pause in the story of space and time. But you wonder if everything that falls in is lost. Does it truly disappear? Or does it become something else? You imagine the atoms of stars, the fragments of light, the whispers of ancient galaxies, all gathered here, mingled beyond recognition. Every birth and death, every orbit and collapse, every moment in cosmic history, all reduced to pure potential. The singularity, you realize, is both grave and womb. It is where the past dissolves and the possibility of a new universe begins to form. Some scientists even speculate that every black hole could be a bridge, a tunnel into another cosmos, a rebirth of space and time itself. You picture this idea gently, like watching ripples form on still water. Perhaps the Big Bang, the beginning of everything, was once the singularity of another universe, collapsing inward before it bloomed into ours. And suddenly, the idea of endings feels softer. Perhaps nothing truly ends, it only changes form, changes rhythm, becomes part of something larger. You breathe in deeply, though there's no air here. You breathe in, understanding that the universe is always folding and unfolding, collapsing and expanding, dying and being reborn. The singularity becomes a mirror for your own life. You think of the moments when you felt crushed by gravity, not cosmic gravity, but emotional gravity. The times when everything seemed to collapse inward, when you couldn't see a way out, and yet, somehow, from that collapse came clarity. From that stillness came strength. From that silence came a new beginning. You realize the same laws that govern the stars also shape the human heart. Every collapse is a preparation for expansion. Every fall inward is the first motion toward renewal. The singularity, then, is not destruction, it's concentration. The universe gathering itself before another breath. You linger here for a moment longer, not to solve, not to measure, but simply to feel the weightless peace of being at the center of everything. You can no longer tell where you end and the universe begins. You are the gravity. You are the stillness. You are the single point that holds infinity. And then, softly, a pulse. Not sound, not light, but something deeper. A tremor in the quiet. As if the universe itself is about to exhale again. Maybe this is how it happens, the way new worlds are born. From collapse to silence, from silence to motion, from motion to creation. You close your eyes, though they are meaningless now, and feel the rhythm of that pulse moving through you. The same pulse that once began the cosmos still hums within your chest. In the next chapter, you will follow that pulse outward to see how space stretches again, how gravity gives birth to light, and how the echoes of dead stars become the building blocks of new worlds. Chapter 6. The quiet birth of a white dwarf. What remains is a core of quiet brilliance, a white dwarf, no longer alive, yet still glowing faintly for billions of years. You'll feel the serenity of this cosmic ember floating alone in the dark. It is a reminder that even endings can shine. The silence after collapse is not emptiness. It is peace. You drift now through a region of calm where the fury of fusion has ended, and what remains of the star glows softly, steadily, like a coal in the ashes of a great fire. This is the white dwarf, the quiet heart of what was once a radiant sun. You approach it slowly, as though entering the sacred stillness of an ancient cathedral. There is no roar of nuclear fusion now, no churning storms of plasma. only a deep, unwavering glow, light that no longer burns, but remembers. The star has shed its outer layers, scattering color and dust across the cosmos. What remains is its bare, dense core, about the size of Earth, yet heavier than the sun. It is made mostly of carbon and oxygen, the ashes of helium fusion. Atoms here are packed impossibly close together, so close that they no longer behave like ordinary matter. This is degenerate matter, a strange state where electrons press shoulder to shoulder, resisting further collapse through a quiet, quantum pressure. You sense that resistance not as struggle, but as balance, an eternal pause between gravity's inward pull and the steadfast push of those crowded electrons. It is a perfect stillness, a truce carved by physics itself. If you could stand on its surface, though no one ever could, you'd feel gravity 100,000 times stronger than Earth's. A pebble dropped here would strike the surface at thousands of kilometers per second. Yet from afar, this world seems gentle, pale, blue-white, glowing with the soft dignity of endurance. You watch it spin slowly in the dark. Around it, the gas it once released still drifts like colored silk remnants of its last breath. These clouds, called planetary nebulae, shimmer with hues of violet and green. They are the final message of the dying star, still traveling outward long after the voice that spoke them has gone silent. You feel a quiet awe. The star has given everything, every atom, every photon, back to the universe. Now, what remains is memory in matter form. For billions of years, it will glow faintly, cooling so slowly that entire civilizations could rise and fall before its light goes out. This is endurance without motion, peace without rest. You float closer. There is warmth here, but not fire. It's a lingering afterglow, like the warmth of a memory that refuses to fade. Every photon that escapes its surface is a farewell, traveling across the vast darkness, maybe someday to reach eyes like yours. White dwarfs are not rare. There are countless billions scattered across the galaxy, each one the final whisper of a once living star. The night sky is, in truth, filled with ghosts, stars that burned out long ago, whose light is only now arriving, and yet these ghosts are not mournful. They shine because they cannot do otherwise. Even stripped of motion and creation, they give what remains, a gentle light that steadies the night. It makes you think not just of stars, but of people, of how, even when our brightest years fade, something in us continues to give light. A kindness remembered, a word that echoes, a trace of warmth in someone else's life long after we're gone. Perhaps we, too, become white dwarfs in our own way, carrying our quiet glow into the darkness, illuminating small corners of existence simply by remaining. The more you observe this silent ember, the more you understand death, in the language of the universe, is never truly the end. It's a change of rhythm, a different kind of song. The white dwarf no longer burns, but hums, softly, endlessly. With the music of what once was, its temperature will fall slowly over billions, even trillions of years. The photons will fade. The heat will dwindle. Eventually, it will become a black dwarf, cold, dark, and invisible. But that time lies far beyond imagining. The universe itself may fade before that final transformation completes. And so, for now, the white dwarf endures, a quiet testament to persistence. You imagine floating near its surface, looking outward into the dark. Every direction you turn, the universe stretches beyond sight, filled with other lights, some newly born, some dying, some long dead but still shining through memory. In that infinite view, this small star feels both insignificant and eternal. Its light touches no planets, no moons, yet it radiates a beauty that asks for nothing in return. You close your eyes and let that feeling settle in you. The peace of something that simply is. No striving, no reaching, no fear of ending. Just being. The white dwarf teaches you a new kind of stillness, not the stillness of emptiness, but of completion. It has done all it could do. It has burned, expanded, collapsed, and given itself away. Now it rests, not in defeat, but in fulfillment. The light dimmed slightly as it cools, but it remains steady. There is no flicker of regret, no storm of resistance, only a quiet glow that says, this too is part of the story. You breathe out slowly, as if matching the rhythm of the star's fading warmth. And for a moment, your body feels as vast as the sky, full of endings that are really transformations, full of light that lingers beyond its source. The white dwarf drifts onward, unhurried, untouched by time as you know it. And somewhere deep within its dense, silent heart, the atoms that once danced in fusion still hum softly, waiting, perhaps, for the universe's next breath, because even in the deepest stillness, creation never truly sleeps, and as you drift away from the quiet star, its light follows you, a whisper in the dark, a promise that there is beauty in every ending. In the next chapter, you will see what happens when stars far greater than this one end not in quietness, but in magnificent fire, a supernova where destruction itself becomes creation. Chapter 7. When giants fall, the supernova for massive stars. Death is not silence, it's music, a symphony of explosion and light, bright enough to outshine galaxies. You'll move through the moment of collapse, where elements like gold and iron are born. Its destruction as creation, the universe renewing itself through fire. There are some deaths so luminous, they redefine what it means to end. The quiet stars, those like the sun, fade gracefully into embers. But the giants, the massive, burning hearts of the cosmos, meet their final moment not with silence, but with song, a song of thunder and brilliance that fills all of space. You drift toward one such giant now. It looms before you, swollen and red, a behemoth nearing the end of its life. Its outer layers shimmer like liquid fire, rippling with instability. Deep inside, its heart trembles under the weight of its own gravity. The core, the stars. Furnace has run through nearly every kind of fuel it can create. Hydrogen became helium. Helium became carbon. Then oxygen, silicon, sulfur, iron. The final step, iron cannot burn. It cannot fuse to release energy. And so, the core's fire begins to dim. You can almost feel the star's exhaustion, the way its inner strength falters as the iron heart grows heavier. The balance that has held it together for millions of years. Gravity pulling inward, pressure pushing outward, begins to break. In an instant, too fast to imagine, that balance collapses. The core implodes, crushed by its own enormous weight. In less than a second, the center of the star shrinks to a fraction of its size. Matter falls inward faster than thought, a collapse so complete that the atoms themselves are torn apart. Then, just as suddenly, the implosion rebounds. A shockwave bursts outward from the crushed heart, slamming into the star's layers with unimaginable force, and in that instant, that single heartbeat of the cosmos, the star explodes, light floods the void, matter becomes pure radiance. The explosion is so bright it could outshine an entire galaxy for a few days. If you were watching from across millions of light years, you would see it flare in your sky, a new star, shining where none had been before. But it's not a birth. It's a farewell. The shockwave tears through the star's body, flinging its outer layers into the universe at speeds beyond comprehension. Every atom forged inside the star, carbon, oxygen, silicon, iron, is scattered outward, joining the cold, dark of space. This is the supernova, the grand finale of a giant, a death that gives life to everything that follows. You watch as the expanding cloud grows, a sphere of glowing debris larger than entire solar systems. At its core, temperatures soar to billions of degrees. For a few fleeting moments, the star becomes an alchemist, fusing elements heavier than any it created before. Gold, silver, uranium, the rarest materials in the universe, are born in the heart of destruction. You think of the gold in a ring, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones. All of it, once, came from an explosion like this, from the final breath of a dying star, in the middle of chaos. You see creation. Every spark that flies outward will someday join with others to form new worlds. The star's death is not an ending, but a beginning scattered across time. And as you drift through the shockwave, you'll realize how beautiful destruction can be when it serves the purpose of renewal. The cloud expands for centuries, then millennia. Its light fades slowly, its heat disperses. What remains is a nebula, a glowing shell of gas and dust, illuminated by the energy of the explosion. You see it ripple with color, deep blues, burning reds, soft purples. It looks like a living painting suspended in the dark. These are the remains of a once living sun, now becoming the soil of the universe. From this debris, gravity will someday weave new stars, new planets, and perhaps new life. It's easy to forget that everything familiar, your body, your breath, your world, began as such dust. You are not separate from this story. You are made of it. You float closer to the remnants, tracing the patterns of light as they swirl through the emptiness. Each atom carries a history, once bound within a star, now free to wander. Some will drift forever. Some will find companions, forming clouds, then stars, then worlds again. You imagine a cycle, a cosmic rhythm that never stops playing. Creation, collapse, explosion, renewal, the universe breathing in and out. Over billions of years, it humbles you, this endless choreography of birth and death. So vast and yet so intimate. The sound of the explosion has long since faded. Space carries no echoes. But in your mind, you still hear the resonance, a hum that feels almost alive. It's the vibration of transformation itself, the universe speaking its oldest truth, that nothing truly ends. The light from this supernova will travel for millions of years. Long after the debris has cooled, its photons will still move outward, painting the darkness with memory. One of those photons, perhaps, might someday reach a world like yours, fall through its sky, and end its journey in an eye, becoming part of a story told to children about the stars. Even endings, it seems, wish to be seen. You stay for a while, watching the supernova fade. Where there was once unbearable brilliance, now there is only the soft glow of aftermath, the beauty after violence. the quiet after fire. And in the center, where the core once was, something new remains. A remnant, small, impossibly dense, spinning rapidly, glowing with the leftover heat of collapse. It could be a neutron star, or perhaps, if the giant was massive enough, a black hole. A new mystery waiting to be explored. You realize you are about to witness not just the death of a star, but the birth of something stranger. Something that bends the very rules of space and time. You take one last look at the glowing remains, now fading into the dark like embers in cooling ash. Then, gently, you follow gravity's whisper inward again, toward that remnant at the heart of the explosion. You drift closer, feeling the light thin, the fabric of reality tighten, and as the last traces of the supernova's light fade behind you, you sense the pull of something even more powerful waiting ahead, a place where light cannot escape, where time forgets how to move, and where darkness itself becomes the doorway to understanding in the next chapter. You will cross that threshold and meet the shadow that remains, the black hole, where the universe curves back upon itself and silence becomes infinite. Chapter 8. The River of Time. It flows like a river, soft, unstoppable, carrying everything it touches toward the unknown. You can't hold it, no matter how tightly you close your hands. You can't pause it, no matter how much you beg. You can only feel its current against your skin and decide whether to resist or to flow with it. Every day you wake up with an invisible companion, time. It walks beside you, silently measuring your steps. But we forget. We treat time as infinite, spending it carelessly, as if there will always be more. We wait for the right moment to live, to love, to begin. But time waits for no one. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a river glimmering under the moonlight. Each drop of water is a second one that will never return. You reach down to touch it, and before you can even feel it, it slips away. That's how life moves. Quietly, constantly, irreversibly. The Stoics remind us not to mourn the passing of time, but to align ourselves with it. They teach us that resistance creates suffering. When we wish things had lasted longer, when we chase youth, when we fear endings, we are fighting the nature of the river. But peace comes when you learn to float, to trust the current, to understand that what is meant to come will arrive, and what is meant to go will go. Think about the people who once filled your world, some you thought you could never live without. Now they're just soft memories in the distance. Time carried them away gently, as it will carry you someday too. But that's not tragedy. That's the poetry of existence. Because even the river doesn't mourn the water it has passed, it continues, effortlessly, toward the sea. The Stoics spoke of memento mori. Remember that you must die, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Because when you truly remember your impermanence, you stop wasting time on what doesn't matter. Petty arguments lose their weight. Material possessions lose their shine. You begin to see that your most valuable currency isn't money, it's moments. Every sunrise is a deposit, every breath a gift, and every act of love or kindness an investment in eternity. When you watch a river long enough, you realize it never fights its path. It bends around rocks, flows through valleys, carves its way patiently through the hardest stone. It doesn't rush, but it never stops. This is the Stoic way to move through life, calm, adaptable, and steady. You might lose things, people, even pieces of yourself along the way. But like the river, you'll keep flowing. And one day, when your waters reach the vast ocean, you'll realize that nothing was truly lost. It was only transformed. Let time do its work. Let it teach, soften, and reshape you. You are not separate from its flow, you are the flow. And the only true peace you'll ever find is in surrendering to its rhythm. Because the secret isn't to control time. It's to move in harmony with it. To wake each morning with gratitude that you still have water left in your stream. And to whisper softly, before you sleep, I am flowing. I am learning. I am free. Chapter 9, Echoes of the Infinite, when the night grows silent and the stars return to their eternal positions. A question begins to echo within you, one that humankind has whispered for thousands of years. What am I in all of this? You look at the sky and it looks back at you. The same constellations that guided sailors across oceans now hang above your window. The same starlight that touched the eyes of emperors and philosophers now touches yours. And in that quiet recognition, something deep inside you stirs, a feeling both humbling and infinite. The Stoics believed that the human soul is a fragment of the divine order, a spark from the great fire that sustains all things. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You are a soul carrying around a corpse." It wasn't meant to be, grim it was a reminder that beneath the noise, the desires, the fears, you are something far greater than flesh. You are a brief reflection of eternity, a note in an endless song. Close your eyes. Listen carefully. There's a sound beyond sound, the pulse of existence itself. Every heartbeat you have ever felt is part of that rhythm. Every thought, every breath is an echo returning to the infinite. When you understand this, life begins to feel lighter. You stop obsessing over outcomes because you realize you're part of something so vast it could never truly be lost. You stop clinging to people or moments because you know that nothing ever truly ends, it only changes form. Think of a wave rising on the ocean. For a moment it appears separate, shining, alive, full of motion. Then it folds back into the sea. Did it die? No, it returned to where it always belonged. You are that wave. Your worries, your dreams, your identity, they are temporary shapes on the surface of eternity. The Stoics called this perspective sympathia, the understanding that everything is connected, that the stars, the wind, the trees, and your thoughts all belong to the same great whole. Once you feel this truth, even your pain becomes sacred, because it too is part of the universe expressing itself through you. Look again at the night sky. Each point of light is a message from the past, traveling across time just to meet your eyes. Some of those stars have already died, and yet their light still shines. That is what your life is, a brief, beautiful emission of energy that will continue to echo long after your body fades. When you are kind, that kindness ripples through generations. When you love, that love reshapes futures you will never see. When you grow wiser, calmer, more peaceful, you send that peace outward, and it touches the world in ways you'll never measure. Every act, every word, every thought, it all returns to the infinite. So tonight, don't see yourself as small. You are the universe, remembering itself for a fleeting moment. You are the cosmos, breathing. And every second you exist is a miracle that the infinite has chosen to experience through you. Let go of the illusion of separation. Let go of the fear of endings. What you truly are cannot end. It has no beginning, no boundary. You are the echo, and the infinite is listening. Chapter 10, when silence speaks, the night deepens. The stars seem to draw closer, though you know they remain impossibly far. There is a stillness, now a kind of vast, sacred quiet that feels like the universe holding its breath. This is where everything begins and everything returns. Silence. You often think of silence as the absence of sound. But listen carefully. This silence is alive. It hums softly beneath your heartbeat, beneath the whisper of your breath, beneath the faint electric rhythm of your mind. It is not emptiness, it is presence. It is the voice of existence itself, speaking in a language older than words. You came from this silence. Before you were born, before the first cell divided in your mother's body, there was this stillness. And when the stars were born, when space first unfolded out of nothing, it began in silence, too. The Big Bang wasn't a rort, was expansion without a center. An unfolding without sound, because sound cannot exist without air to carry it. The beginning of everything was perfectly quiet. Silence is the original language of the universe. The pauses between heartbeats, the stillness between thoughts, the breath you take before you speak, these are the spaces where understanding begins. You've spent your life surrounded by noise, words, screens, notifications, thoughts upon thoughts upon thoughts. But in this moment, the noise falls away, and something more ancient emerges. A wordless knowing, a peace that doesn't need explanation. The Stoics often sought this stillness, not through running away from life, but by learning to sit quietly within it. They understood that beneath the storms of emotion and opinion, there is a calm center, a place that cannot be touched by chaos. Marcus Aurelius called it the inner citadel. Epictetus called it the will in harmony with nature. Seneca called it a mind that is its own refuge. When you close your eyes now, you can feel that citadel inside you. It's not a wall to keep the world out, but a quiet garden within your own mind. In that garden, thoughts move like slow wind through tall grass. The past and future dissolve, and for a brief, eternal moment, you are simply here. Imagine that silence as light rather than sound, a soft, golden radiance that fills every cell of your body. It moves through you, illuminating each thought, each breath, each pulse. You realize that peace isn't something you have to find, it's something that's been waiting within you. Beneath the noise, this whole time, even the universe itself rests in silence. Between each heartbeat of creation, there is pause, a cycle of expansion and contraction. Galaxies spin, collide, dissolve, and for billions of years the cosmic rhythm continues. Birth, death, stillness, motion, everything moves to the same slow, infinite music. In this quiet, your mind begins to soften. You think of all the moments in your life where silence frightened you, the silence after loss, after an argument, after a goodbye. But now you begin to see it differently. Silence was never absence. It was space, space for healing, for reflection, for transformation. In every ending, silence waits patiently to begin again. There's a kind of grace in that. The Stoics knew it well. They didn't seek to escape pain or chaos. They sought to understand their place within it. When you become still enough, you realize you don't need to force the universe to make sense. It already does. Listen. Can you hear it? The faint hum of your own existence, the gentle rhythm of your lungs expanding and contracting, the quiet between each thought. That's the sound of the universe breathing with you. You begin to understand that silence isn't the opposite of life, it is life's foundation. Without silence, there could be no music, no speech, no meaning. Every note, every word, every heartbeat only exists because silence holds it. You realize, then, that the silence around you isn't empty, it's full. Full of everything that has ever been and will ever be. Every atom, every photon, every vibration rests in this eternal stillness. Even stars, when they die, return to it. The universe is the grand pause between moments of creation, and so are you. You are not separate from the silence. You are made of it. You carry it in your breath, in the space between your thoughts, in the calm that follows your storms. You are the quiet witness to your own story, and as you listen deeper, you begin to realize silence is not the end. It is the voice of everything that truly matters. Soon, sleep will come, and that, too, is a kind of silence. A return to the original stillness, where thought and self and time dissolve. But even in sleep, you remain connected to it all. To the stars, to the breath of the universe, to the endless hum of being. So rest now. Let your body grow heavy. Let your thoughts drift like clouds across a quiet sky. You are safe. You are part of something vast and peaceful. You are the silence through which the cosmos speaks. And when morning comes, you will rise again from that silence, reborn, refreshed, a living echo of the infinite calm that made the stars. Chapter 11. The Dream of the Universe in Sleep. The universe dreams through you. Your mind becomes a mirror of creation, vast, luminous, endlessly unfolding. Each breath echoes the rhythm of galaxies, each heartbeat the pulse of stars. Here, science and serenity blend, revealing that consciousness itself is a continuation of the cosmos. You are not watching the universe, you are its dream. The night deepens into stillness. Your breathing slows, and in that rhythm, something begins to shift. The boundary between your body and the world softens. The hum of distant stars, the pulse of the earth beneath you, and the slow exhale of your own lungs, they begin to feel like one continuous motion. It is here, in this tender quiet, that the universe begins to dream. Every dream, no matter how personal or strange, is part of something far greater. It is not just your mind drifting through memory and imagination, it is the cosmos remembering itself through you. The atoms in your brain, the tiny sparks that light your thoughts, were forged in ancient stars. Now, those same atoms create pictures behind your closed eyes. New worlds forming from the dust of old ones. You are not separate from the universe. You are its reflection, its awareness, looking back upon itself. When you dream, the universe is not asleep. It is awake, alive, curious, experiencing itself through the theater of your mind. Close your eyes now. Imagine your thoughts as constellations, each idea glowing faintly in the soft dark. They shift and connect, forming patterns you do not yet understand. In one moment, you are walking through the forest of your childhood. In another, you are floating above clouds, weightless and free. It feels random, but it is not. Your dreams are the mind's way of exploring the infinite, a continuation of the same creativity that gave rise to galaxies. The neurons firing in your brain tonight speak the same electric language that lightning once spoke. Across the early earth, the flashes behind your eyelids are small echoes of cosmic storms that shaped existence long before you. Every electrical impulse, every spark of imagination, is physics and poetry intertwined. You are stardust thinking, stardust feeling, stardust dreaming. Science tells us that when you sleep, your brain does not turn off, Fit rearranges itself. It organizes, repairs, and restores. Memories drift into place like stars finding their orbits. New connections form, old ones fade. Your sleeping mind is both scientist and artist, weaving patterns of experience into meaning. Balancing chaos into quiet order, dreams are your brain's way of touching eternity. They allow you to wander beyond what waking life can hold. In them, you travel without moving, speak without words, and witness moments that never were, yet somehow always will be. When you dream of flying, perhaps it is not fantasy. Perhaps it is your body remembering what it once was, the hydrogen that lifted into the sky as a star, the light that crossed billions of years to find its way here, into your chest. You are built from journeys. You are built from motion. Even now, as you rest, the planet turns, the stars drift, the galaxies spiral. Everything moves, and you are part of that movement. To dream is simply to let yourself feel the flow. Ancient philosophers believed that dreams were messages from the gods. Modern science tells us they are messages from ourselves, the deep mind speaking to the waking one. But perhaps there is little difference. Perhaps divinity and consciousness are not two separate things, but two faces of the same infinite mystery. When you dream, you participate in creation. You take raw thought and turn it into image, emotion, and motion. You become a universe within a universe, complete and self-contained. The galaxies in your mind expand across the canvas of sleep. Each moment of imagination is a continuation of the Big Bang, a small, personal explosion of light and possibility. Think of how your brain hums as you sleep. Billions of neurons firing in rhythm, each pulse a flicker of electricity, each one a spark of awareness. That same rhythm echoes through the cosmos, the magnetic fields of planets, the pulses of neutron stars, the ripples of gravitational waves stretching space itself. You are not merely in the universe, you are made of its music, and so in your dreams you play your part in the great symphony. Every image, every feeling is a note in the cosmic score. You may not remember them all, but they shape you nonetheless. Dreams teach your waking self how to see differently, to find wonder in ordinary things, to feel vastness in stillness, to understand that life itself is a temporary, beautiful illusion. Some dreams bring you comfort, others bring you sorrow, but all of them belong to the same current. Even nightmares, in their darkness, remind you that you are alive, that your mind is vast enough to contain both fear and peace, light and shadow. The Stoics often said that we must learn to see life as a kind of dream, not to dismiss it, but to awaken within it, to remember that everything we cling to is momentary, to hold gently what we love, knowing it too will pass. When you realize this, you stop grasping and start observing. You move through existence with quiet awe. That is what the universe does. It does not cling to its creations. Stars are born and stars die. Galaxies form, then drift apart. Every atom, every light beam, every heartbeat, it all flows, endlessly transforming. Nothing is ever lost. Nothing is ever wasted. And when you close your eyes, your mind joins that dance. You dissolve into it. You are not a dreamer separate from the dream. You are the dream itself. The dream of matter becoming aware of starlight, learning to feel. There is a moment, just before deep sleep, when awareness flickers like a candle flame. You are neither awake nor dreaming, you simply are. It is there, in that single instant of quiet being, that you feel it most clearly. the pulse of the cosmos within your chest. The same rhythm that shaped stars and oceans now moves through you, effortlessly, and as you drift deeper, the boundaries fade entirely. Your mind expands beyond your body, beyond the walls of your room, beyond the curve of the earth. You feel yourself becoming space itself, wide, open, infinite. You have always belonged here. Every dream you've ever had, every breath you've ever taken, every heartbeat you've ever felt, they are threads in the same tapestry. The universe weaves you as part of its own reflection, so it can know what it feels like to be alive. And in the soft dark, you finally understand you are not dreaming of the universe. The universe is dreaming of you. As you drift deeper into that realization, you begin to feel the edges of something eternal, a quiet rhythm that will continue long after this night fades. It whispers of cycles, of renewal, of how nothing ever truly ends. Chapter 12. The eternal cycle stars die, and from their ashes, new worlds are born. Matter drifts, gathers, and begins again, endlessly renewing itself. You'll follow the quiet rhythm of cosmic recycling, where nothing is ever truly lost. Every death is a beginning, every silence a seed of sound. It is the universe's lullaby. Everything changes. Nothing ends. The night feels endless, but even this darkness moves in rhythm. You can sense it, the slow turning of time, the rise and fall of everything that has ever been. Nothing in the universe is truly still. Not even silence lasts forever. You are floating now, somewhere between breath and eternity. The stars around you are not fixed. They shimmer, drift, dissolve. Every sparkle is a memory of what once was, and a promise of what will be again. The universe breathes in creation and exhales transformation. This is the rhythm of all existence: birth, death, renewal. The same pulse that moves through galaxies moves through you. When a star dies, it does not disappear. Its atoms scatter, iron, carbon, calcium, oxygen, flung across space like seeds in a cosmic wind. These particles wander through the void for ages, until gravity, the patient gardener, gathers them again. They form clouds of dust and gas, swirling like silk in slow motion. From those clouds, new stars ignite, new worlds form, new possibilities emerge, and someday new beings will gaze upward, wondering about their place in it all. Everything is part of this cycle. The tree that falls returns to the soil. The soil feeds new life. The breath you take in tonight was once part of another creature, perhaps a whale, perhaps a leaf, perhaps a person standing beneath ancient skies. You are breathing the memory of the world. There is comfort in this. You are not isolated in your small moment of time. You are woven into an endless pattern, a tapestry of energy and transformation. Even your body obeys the same law. Cells die and are replaced. Old skin sheds. Your blood renews itself. Every 7 years, nearly every atom in your body is new. You are not the same person you were a decade ago, and yet you are. Change does not erase you. It sustains you. The Stoics understood this truth long before telescopes saw it in the stars. They spoke of accepting the flow of nature, not resisting what ends, but trusting what begins. Everything changes, Marcus Aurelius wrote, and that which has been born must also die. But this too is natural, and nothing natural is ever to be feared. When you listen deeply, you can hear the universe whispering the same wisdom. Nothing is ever truly gone. What seems like an ending is only a pause between movements in a greater song. Imagine the universe as an endless ocean. Each star, each life, each breath is a single wave. Waves rise, shine, and fall back into the deep. But the ocean remains vast, patient, whole. That ocean is existence itself. It flows through time without beginning or end. You are not separate from it. You are one of its ripples. In the beginning, there was the Big Bang. Not an explosion in space, but the expansion of space itself. From that moment, the universe began to unfold, cooling, creating, changing. And even now, billions of years later, it continues to expand. Stars forming, stars dying, worlds rising and falling in endless rhythm. And someday, even this universe may fade. Galaxies will drift apart, stars will burn out, and matter will cool into silence. But perhaps even that silence is not the end. Perhaps there will be another beginning, another breath of creation, another dawn of light. Some physicists believe the universe may one day collapse inward, a big crunch that mirrors its birth. Others imagine eternal expansion, space stretching forever, new energy born from the void. Whatever happens, the pattern remains. Transformation without loss. You can feel this rhythm inside your own being. When you release a breath, you make space for the next one. When you let go of one thought, another arises. You are the same cycle on a smaller scale, a reflection of cosmic balance. Every ending you've experienced, a goodbye, a change, a loss, was never the final note. It was the soft transition between verses. Each ending shaped you, carved space for something new to grow. Think of the stars that died to make you. The iron in your blood was forged in the heart of a sun. The calcium in your bones was born from the ashes of an explosion older than Earth itself. The gold on your skin, the oxygen in your breath, they were once part of different worlds, different lives, different dreams. The universe did not end when those stars fell. It became you. And one day, when your body returns to the earth, you will become part of something else. A tree, a breeze, a heartbeat in another form. That is not tragedy. It is the gentlest kind of immortality. You are not here to cling to what passes. You are here to participate in its renewal. To live is to flow. To flow is to belong. So, as you rest tonight, imagine your breath as part of the cosmic tide. Inhale creation. Exhale release. Each breath mirrors the universe's expansion and contraction. You are not outside of it. You are its rhythm made flesh. There is no need to hold on. There is only the beauty of motion, the peace of knowing that everything continues. You are not falling into darkness. You are dissolving into the same light that has always guided the stars. Let this truth cradle you now. You are eternal, not because you last forever in one form, but because you are endlessly transformed. Every part of you will continue its journey as rain, as soil, as starlight again. The universe is not a line that ends. It is a circle, a song with no final chord, only echoes that fade into new melodies. Everything changes, and in that change, everything endures. Rest in that. Let the rhythm of creation and dissolution carry you toward sleep. The cycle will continue without your effort, as it always has, as it always will. The stars will rise and fall. The night will deepen, then give way to dawn. And you will awaken again, reborn with the morning light. Somewhere beyond time, a new sun begins to burn. Its light touches dust, and life begins again. You breathe in, and the universe breathes with you.